Thank you for plugging into this Family Life News podcast, streaming issues-driven, family-focused news. Welcome to another edition of Hometown Heroes on Family Life. I'm your host, Bill Price. Our guests this week, John and Sue Best from Williamsport, Pennsylvania. They operate the Code Blue Emergency Warming Center. Let's listen in.
We actually started it 3 years ago in response to a call that we have to serve the least and the lost, to meet people where they are rather than where we are. And this is a perfect way to do that. We average 12 to 13 people a night. Everybody's welcome.
I love the fact that you're not waiting for people to come to you. You're going to them and opening your doors and your arms and your hearts, and that's what ministry should really be all about. So how does this warming center operate?
We open at 9 o'clock each evening, and the door remains open until 10 o'clock when it's locked, so we've got a 1-hour entry window. Typically, we provide food because they come in hungry, and then we close at 7:30 in the morning and require them to take everything with them.
A lot of churches are dealing with security issues and safety issues. We reminded of that church shooting in Texas recently. And are you guys at all concerned with the safety, and how do you balance that with the important work that you're doing, I guess?
We're very concerned about safety and security. We've got the United Methodist Safe Sanctuaries policy in place, yet we're really called to be with these people, to minister with them, and just feel that God's going to protect us in that. And so far, we've had absolutely no issues.
Mm-hmm. We do, however, question each individual, and if they are registered on Megan's list, if we have any children, we immediately remove them to another part of the building. We welcome anyone to come in as long as they follow our rules.
So I know with a lot of these warming shelters, if the temperature dips below 32, then a blue light comes on. Is that kind of how it works there?
We do have the blue lights, although last year we did have the 32-degree requirement. This year we're just open. We found it a bit confusing, last year, because we said if at 3 o'clock in the afternoon the temperature was forecasted to be 32 or lower, then we'd be open. In a lot of cases, it would be forecasted to be 33, and it really made no sense to differentiate. So This year, we're just open.
You're listening to Hometown Heroes on Family Life. Our guests this week, John and Sue Best from Williamsport, Pennsylvania. They run the Code Blue Emergency Warming Center at First United Methodist Church. And just talk to us, guys, about the impact you guys are having on that community there in Williamsport.
We've been thrilled to be able to open our doors to the people that need a safe place and warm place to stay. We feel that we've had many people that have come and just stayed one night. We've had people come just to have a cup of coffee and visit. We've had some lonely people who've come in, sat down and visited, and then gone home. Last year we had people who didn't have heat who came and stayed till midnight, and then they went home.
It's awesome to see the church in action. A lot of times we show up Sunday morning, but you guys are open 7 days a week, it sounds like, there in Williamsport, and what you're doing there with this warming center. How has it changed you personally, guys, to be able to provide this service?
Well, it's just a privilege to share the love and the hope of Jesus Christ. That's where we're at, and that's primarily what we're called to do, and we feel that we're doing it. So in that respect, it's very rewarding.
I'm sure that you got some success stories.
We've got an individual right now who last week had seizures while he was on his cot, and we rushed him to the emergency room here in Williamsport, and he's since been transferred to Pittsburgh, where he was put into an induced coma. And very clearly, had he not been in our shelter, had he been on the street, he would have died. And so we really believe that we've saved his life.
We have another individual who came to us the first year when we were only open 3 days. He came limping in. We had a actually a registered nurse who was working that night, volunteering that night. She questioned him about his limp, and eventually he took his shoes and socks off and showed her his 5 black toes.
Ooh.
She and another individual made sure that he got to the emergency room, and they did remove 2 of his toes.
And you're feeding all these folks too, right?
Yes.
That's not cheap. How do you guys, how are you funded?
We're blessed.
We've been blessed with a lot of donations from a lot of different individuals. Most of our food is donated by members of our church.
That's John and Sue Best from Williamsport, Pennsylvania. This week's Hometown Heroes. Join us next week as we search for your home, your town, your hero. It's Hometown Heroes on Family Life.